Hello, welcome to your January 2018 reading. I'm Jennifer, and this is for Libra for January 2018, like I just said. And I'm going to be using the Tarot by Colette Baron Reed, the Good Tarot, and I'm going to pull an oracle card for you from Through the Eyes of the Soul Oracle, as well as another oracle card to round out the reading. So let's get started. So I already pulled the tarot cards for you, and at the bottom of the deck, the overall energy, we have the Seven of Air, and this card in this particular deck is talking about non-conformity. It's talking about doing your thing regardless of what other people may or may not say or think about it. It's about really breaking free of like groupthink and being your true self and letting yourself express yourself. And of course, trying to do it in a diplomatic way is helpful. So, I pull a 9-card spread, and at the center of your reading, the heart of the matter of your reading, we have the Page of Air. So this could represent you, Libra, but it also can represent the Page of Air in this deck, especially, is talking about new ideas, investigating things, and of not necessarily knowing, but of curiosity. And the first card we have, and I'm just going to go through each card and then I'm going to relate the reading to you. Then the next card I have is the Two of Earth. And in this deck, it talks about balancing work and play. And of course, I mean, and that could be even, looking at it like a juggler, but also just finding that balance in your life, whatever it is, especially between work and play. Because for many people, we're either, working too hard or we're playing too hard. Then the next card, excuse me, I feel like I'm going to sneeze. The next card we have for you is the Six of Earth. And this card talks about generosity and of receiving back the things that you have put out there. It's also about balancing out and definitely about having your material needs met. And the next card you have is the Six of Water. And this card talks about, nostalgia, thinking back on past memories. It could be, childhood or, the last decade or so, whatever that is for you. And sometimes when we think of these memories, they bring up emotions in us that can distort our perception of now, and can also like distort our thinking of like what's going on now. Like for instance, this is just an example, but like if you were in a past relationship and you've been cheated on, then you might be carrying that with you forward into, might be reason why you haven't met somebody new in your life, because you keep, harping on these ideas of like what it means to like have a significant other. And when you think of your past relationships and you think of how you were treated, and it brings up these emotions, and it can distort your perception of reality. And the next card we have is the Seven of Fire, and this card came out in a lot of readings so far. So this card is talking about standing your ground and, moving ahead fearlessly, even in the face of people challenging you and opposing you, especially when your overall energy is like non-conforming and, being true to yourself and not choosing groupthink, choosing that freedom of expression. And of course, you're going to find challenges when it comes to that. unfortunately, we still live in a world that challenges that a lot. And then, of course, the next card is that middle card, which we already talked about, is the Page of Air. And then we have the Four of Water. So the Four of Water talks about being in a state of like dreaminess, contemplation, also maybe a time of like where there's not really a lot happening and it's more of a time to like dream and let things come up. Like these bubbles here could be representing like feelings and emotions that you're sort of letting yourself feel come through. And then the next card we have is the Moon. And the Moon talks about, you know, what isn't really being illuminated. You know, the things that are happening behind the scenes. Like maybe you don't see things coming into your life, but perhaps you're not aware. Maybe you just can't see exactly what it is that's going on in the shadows. Maybe you can't see exactly what it is that is, you know, obviously, you know, what's going on that you can't see, basically. And it can also talk about illusions and also emotions. But in this deck, it does stress heavily, like, things happening behind the scenes that will come to bear on your reality at some point or another. And then the next card we have is the King of Air. And this card obviously could represent a person in your life. It could represent you, Libra, whether you're male or female. It's really just the energy of the card, which is, this is a card of about putting intellect over instinct and like putting your, you know, reasoning above emotion, and like very, very much like truth is what matters. Truth is what matters, you know, getting to the truth of things. And of course, like the King of Swords, like the Queen of Swords or Air in this deck, they come across as like cold and uncaring. But as Libras, you know that you're a thinking sign, you're a communication sign, you're an air sign. So you are all about you know, thinking and reasoning, and the truth matters to you, and that's why, you know, you represent the scales. So of course you want to get to the truth, because otherwise you're not going to be able to judge those scales properly, and that's very important to a Libra. Balance is very important to a Libra, and if you want real balance, you need the truth. Sometimes letting the emotions get in the way can distort the truth, and you know, while you might think it's cold and relentless, you know, may have come across that way, but emotions emotions should come after the truth, because the truth is really what it matters. It matters a lot. And then the last card for you is the Magician. And this talks about, obviously, you know, manifesting something in your life. But in this deck, excuse me, sorry, I've been talking a lot today. Talks about, you know, you can put your will and your skill and your actions towards something, but if you are, let's say, trying to do something that just isn't, I mean, part of, you know, something that you should be doing, or if you don't have, if you're not aligned with the truth, or if you're not aligned with spirit or the universe or energy or the divine or God, whatever name you want to give it, then you're not going to be able to manifest the things you need to manifest. But if you are being, you know, aligned with the divine, the universe, then you are creating a space for that magic to work through you. So let's look at these cards in relation to one another. So first of all, the top row is really talking about balance here, and that's definitely like a Libra thing. Because we have the 2 of earth with the 6 of earth and then the 6 of water. So it's really about, you know, like we said, balancing like work and play, or just finding balance in your life in whatever way that perhaps you have it or you are lacking it. Okay? And it's, I think with what it's really talking about is about balancing out. Because 6 is also, it's like a number about, it's a very balanced number. And the 6 of earth is usually depicted in the Rider-Waite Tarot with a man holding scales and giving what, you know, giving out, you know, whether he's doing it in a balanced way or not. It depends on the reading, I suppose. But it's about balancing like what's in your physical, what's going on in your physical world with what's going on in your emotional world. Do you feel satisfied by the world that you are living in? Do you feel satisfied with what's manifesting in your material realm? Are your emotions creating lack in your world? How are your ideas, like how are these emotions that could be coming up from you from the past? How is the past perhaps affecting your abundance in your life now? And I'm a Libra as well, just so you know, so that really does I see how that would have pertained to my life as well. And then the next row, we got the 7 of fire, the page of air, and the 4 of water. So this is about standing your ground and charging ahead. This is new ideas and investigating and being curious and asking questions more than, you know, like trying to find out, trying to get to what the truth is, perhaps. And the 4 of cups, I mean, often, you know, well, in the Rider-Waite Tarot, it's you know, spirit is holding out a cup and the person has their eyes closed. That's often how it's depicted. So it could be like unseen opportunities, or maybe it's just not the right time for that opportunity. Maybe it's a time for like dreaming and introspection. And, you know, maybe you have been charging ahead, and maybe, you know, while you have to defend yourself and do what you need to do, maybe you also need to consider, you know, a new way of doing things, new ideas, you know, investigating a little bit more, and, you know, taking a break from that, taking a break and going inside, going within and dreaming a little more and seeing what other ideas can come to you, what other opportunity might be available to you. And not necessarily, you know, going against, you know, what it is that you have been going for, but how can you perhaps let new ideas in that don't necessarily force you to, you know, return to like a group think. You know, you still can have that freedom to be yourself, but we're always going to be learning and growing, and it's good to dream and go within. And then that last row, we have the moon, the king of air, and the magician. So, you know, these could be people in your life. This could be somebody in your life. Then you have these major, these are the only 2 major arcana in your spread. So, you know, what are you manifesting that you don't necessarily see? What is it that you're obviously, you know, every cause has an effect. Everything we do is going to eventually create a result in our life. You know, whether you change a new job, or you break up with your girlfriend or your boyfriend, or you know, even perhaps, you know, smaller things like who knows, anything, like deciding to go on a different route to work one day, and you know, maybe you find you see something that you didn't see before, and that opens up a whole new avenue of possibility for you in some aspect of your life. So, you know, in what ways are you creating something or manifesting something that you may not see the results of it yet? And with this King of Air in the middle, it seems like, you know, it's is it based on truth? Have you been living in truth? Have you been seeking the truth? And is this really everything that you wanted? And also, I mean, the Magician with the King of Air could be somebody in your life that is manifesting something. And maybe, you know, maybe you don't like what's going to come. You may not like it. But unfortunately, this is the way the world works. And other people do have an effect on our lives, as do we theirs. So, you know, choosing that nonconformist path is not always an easy path. And it will be fraught with difficulty and having to stand your ground. But what this is really saying to me is, it's sort of like balancing like the dreaminess, or like, you know, the illusion, because the moon represents the illusion. It's about balancing like the illusion with the hardcore facts of reality that don't change. That's kind of what I see. And it could be, you know, a balancing out and bringing something that can be manifested, that could be a benefit to all, or it could be something that, you know, some sort of, I mean, with the King of Air there in the middle between the illusion, the moon, and, you know, which is the illusion card, and the Magician, I think it's a good thing, to be honest, because I think that the truth is a necessary part of the world, even if we don't like it. And we need to accept the truth and come to terms with the truth of ourselves and the world around us. And I do, you know what, I'm going to pull another card on this Magician card, just to kind of clarify, like, that's too many cards. How exactly, like, you know, what can we clarify the Magician in this reading? Clarify the Magician and the King of Air and the King of Air. We're gonna put a card right between them and just see what kind of energy this is going to be bringing forth here. Clarify the Magician and the King of Air. Okay, we just got one. Justice. All right, so that is your card, Libra. So that's good, as long as it is true justice and not injustice. So that's good. So it is about balancing that illusion and, you know, bringing those things that we don't necessarily see out from the shadows, which is good. I mean, the illumination of things is for the highest good of oneself and really for the world at large, because, you know, when we see clearly, or when we may not always like what's in the shadows, but until we face what's in the shadows, we can never really truly heal. So now we're going to move forward with your oracle card. And this is the card that got pulled for Libra. Lord Lioness, seek a wise elder. So we're going to read that out of the book. Allow the mentor with vast life experience to counsel you. Listening will nurture your aspirations. King Cador of Dumonia, the ancient name of Cornwall, was said to be a close relative of King Arthur. Fosterage was common among the upper classes in those days, increasing the bonds between ruling families as well as an expanded experience and education for the child. King Cador was a wise mentor and friend to Arthur, as well as being knowledgeable of earth energies and the pantheon of beliefs brought to Lyonesse by the Phoenicians and other seafarers. Some ancient texts name King Cador as the father or ward of Guinevere. In the background of the painting is St. Michael's Mount, a remaining part of the sunken lands of Lyonesse. So this could even be that you're going to need a lawyer. You could be dealing with something of troubles with, because when I had that deck, before I shuffled it again, underneath the Seven of Swords was the Hierophant, which represents like traditions and not, I guess the Emperor would be more of the courts, but this could be needing a lawyer, getting counsel. So you could be going through some kind of legal matter, or that's really what that's saying. That's really what I'm getting loud and clearly, but I'm not one for lawyers so much. I guess I like trouble in my life. I don't know. But I think when you live in the truth and you speak the truth and you do what's right, you don't need to worry about stuff like that. And I mean, yeah, you have to worry about stuff like that, but you also need to be true to yourself no matter what the society expects of you. So I'm going to pull another oracle card for you, Libra. We're going to pull from the Goddess Oracle. And we're going to see what messages can we add to this Libra spread for January 2018. I mean, the Seek a Wise Elder could also just be like somebody coming to like help you. Perhaps you're manifesting some kind of like friendship or I mean, that's sort of the worst case scenario, is you're going to need a lawyer. But in either case, you know what? Balancing the scales is very important, especially to a Libra. And, you know, it's really important for you, Libra, to... It doesn't look like it's going to be, like, easy for you emotionally with this because, you know, you did pull the Six of Cups and the Four of Cups. So, alright, let's... What messages can you... What can we add to this Libra reading from this Goddess Oracle? What messages do we have for Libra for January 2018? And this is the one. Oh, okay. So we've got Sekhmet, anger and rage. So let's read from the Goddess Oracle. Because, you know, the world is filled with people who just are unfair and don't really understand. They don't know what justice is because the world lives in an illusion, and they don't really like knowing what's in the shadows. So they ignore it. They ignore the truth, and they pretend it doesn't really exist. Okay, Sekhmet, anger and rage. I burn and fume and shoot daggers from my eyes. I erupt and roar. Though you've not pulled my tail, my edges are sharp and I cut deep. My energy is strong and fierce, and my displeasure needs to be expressed. Though sometimes mild, I can be very intense. Once incited, I am difficult to put out. I am always appropriate, always needed. Don't try to get rid of me. I need to be acknowledged and heard. I am anger. So that's important to understand, especially in the world we live in today, where people just like, anger is not allowed. Like if you get angry, you gotta take a pill. Meaning of the card, Sekhmet, leaps into your life to help you face your anger. Does anger, yours or someone else's, make you feel uncomfortable? Do you fear your anger because you were taught anger isn't nice, or that expressing anger is ugly? Have you repressed or disconnected from it so much that you don't know how to express it now? Perhaps you've gone beyond anger to rage. Rage is accumulated, anger gone out of control. Perhaps you're in a slow boil all the time and don't know how to take the pot from the fire. Sekhmet says our anger is part of our power as women. Don't give away your anger. Learn to express it in a way that can be heard. Learn to transform it so it empowers and energizes you. Your path to wholeness will be more vital when you make anger your ally. So, I think that for Libra, nothing angers a Libra more than injustice. I mean, especially when they are treated unjustly. So, it just seems like Libras have, and because I know for my own self, it's like this world has so much injustice in it, and people just treat each other so unjustly all the time that it's hard to be a Libra, especially a Libra who seeks truth and wants real truth in the world and wants to manifest that truth into the world. It's like people just don't want it, and then they wonder why the Libra is angry and raging. So let's not leave your reading off on that note. Let's try to pull another. Well, we don't have to try. Let's pull another card. I'm going to pull a card from the Nature Speak Oracle. This card is really just trying to drop out of my hand, so this is the one. Okay. So we got ferns. New wonders. Try to bring a little positivity here. Ferns. Ferns come in a wide variety, and wild ferns are most often found in forests. They are indicators of doorways between worlds, especially the human and the fairy. New wonders are opening for you. Trust in what you are seeing and hearing and feeling. Your senses, physical and psychic, are more perceptive now than ever. As a child, you believed in many possibilities, and there is occurring a replay of some of those wonder-filled childhood experiences. Keep your heart open to them, and your belief in wondrous magic will be reawakened. So, hopefully this message has brought you some insight. Hopefully it adds some value to your life going forward in January 2018. And thank you for joining me, Libra. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And Happy New Year. Thank you. Bye.